I wasn't trying to snoop. Honestly, I wasn't. It was a Thursday night. My wife, Kat, was in the shower. Her phone buzzed once, then twice, on the kitchen counter next to me. I glanced at it, reflex, not suspicion. I saw a preview of a text. Can't stop thinking about last night. When can I see you again? No name, just a number. My chest tightened. At first, I laughed to myself. Some random spam, one of those stupid scams. But my stomach said otherwise. You ever get that gut instinct that just knows something's off before your brain catches up? She came back into the kitchen in her robe, drying her hair with a towel. I handed her the phone and said nothing. She didn't even glance at it, just locked it and tossed it on the table. That was red flag number 1. We've been married 9 years. We've had our fights, sure, but nothing like this. Not this. We have a 6-year-old son, Ryan. I work remote in IT. She teaches sociology at the local university. We were solid, or at least I thought we were. That night, I lay in bed next to her, staring at the ceiling while she snored softly. My mind was racing. Who the hell sent that text? Last night? What the hell happened last night? She told me she stayed late at work, prepping midterms. Red flag number 2. I got out of bed around 3 a.m., went into the living room, and sat there in the dark with my laptop open. That's when it started. I didn't want to believe she was cheating on me, but something told me I needed to know. I searched for discrete tracking apps, GPS, phone monitoring, keyloggers. It felt wrong, but not as wrong as getting played for a fool. The next morning, I set up the tracker on her phone. I work in IT. It wasn't hard. She uses the same passcode for everything. I installed it while she was showering again, pretending to be cleaning up after Ryan's cereal spill. Within minutes, I could see her location history. She hadn't been on campus the night before. She'd spent 3 hours at an address downtown, a condo building. Name didn't register. Yet. My hands were shaking, but my face was calm. I handed her her coffee like every other morning, kissed her goodbye as she rushed out the door. And when the door clicked shut, I whispered to myself, okay, let's see how far this goes. Because here's the thing. I wasn't going to confront her. Not yet. Not without proof. If she was lying, I needed everything. I needed to catch her in the act. I needed to break her story apart until there was nowhere left to run. You only get one chance to expose someone properly, and I was just getting started. It was Friday. She told me she had a faculty meeting until 6 p.m., normal enough. But now that the tracker was active, I didn't have to take her word for anything. At 3:15 p.m., she left campus. At 3:42, she arrived at the same condo building as before, apartment 12C. No faculty meeting, no lesson plans, just lies. Again. I sat in my car a block away, heart pounding, watching the GPS dot sit still for over an hour. My mind kept trying to convince me I was wrong, that maybe it was innocent, maybe she was helping a friend, maybe it wasn't what I thought. But deep down, I knew exactly what it was. I finally drove home around 5:30 p.m. and waited. When she walked in at 6:20, her makeup was redone, and her hair looked fresh. She even smelled like a different perfume, one she didn't wear anymore, something floral, cheap. Long meeting? I asked casually. She rolled her eyes. Yes, total waste of time. Just a bunch of old dudes talking about curriculum changes. I almost fell asleep. She even threw in a fake yawn. I smiled, nodded, bit the inside of my cheek so hard I almost tasted blood. Red flag number 3. The unnecessary detail. When people lie, They tend to over-explain. Later that night, I decided I needed a plan. Not just GPS tracking, I needed evidence, real, undeniable proof. So I went back to the same tech forums I used when I built my home server. Found a discreet voice recorder with a motion sensor. Could hide it in her car, small, black, easy. It arrived the next day, Amazon Prime. Sunday, she went out for groceries and brunch with her friend Hannah. Before she left, I slipped outside and installed the recorder under her driver's seat. Magnetic clip, one-button trigger. I told myself I wouldn't listen to it unless I had to. Turns out, I had to. Sunday night, after she fell asleep watching some dumb Netflix doc, I took the recorder to my office and played it. There was music, talking, laughing, a man's voice, low, confident. Then her voice. And then something else. Something that made my stomach twist in on itself. Moaning. I slammed the laptop shut and sat there in total silence. Rage, shame, disgust, all swirling around in my chest like poison. 9 years of marriage, a 6-year-old son, and she's out there getting railed in someone's condo while I'm packing lunches and pretending everything's fine. I didn't sleep that night. I just stared at the ceiling again. But this time, I wasn't wondering if she was cheating. I was planning what to do about it. By Monday morning, I wasn't the same man I was 3 days ago. I dropped Ryan off at school, went home, and opened the tracking dashboard like it was my morning newspaper. The GPS history was mapped out with little time stamps. I could see everything. Every stop, every detour. She'd been going to that same damn condo for weeks. Always in the afternoon. Always when she said she had meetings or grading to do. I clicked on the address again. 1510 South Lamar, Unit 12C. I copied it, opened Zillow, and searched the building. It was high-end. Rent for a one-bedroom, $2,300 a month. Too nice for a hookup spot, unless you had money, or you lived there. So I started digging. Property records. Name on the lease, Thomas Everett Morgan. The name meant nothing to me, at first. I found his Facebook, private, but the profile pic was public. A guy maybe late 30s, gym-built, beard, sharp jawline, fake-looking smile. A tech bro look, you know the type. Then I scrolled through the Friends You Might Know section. Boom! Kat liked one of his profile pics. 2 months ago. I sat there staring at that little blue thumbs up like it was a knife in my ribs. Now I had a name, a face, an address, but I still didn't know who he was to her. That afternoon I picked Ryan up from school and drove the long way home. I needed to clear my head. We stopped for burgers, laughed about how his teacher got mad at another kid for saying poop too loud, and for a minute, it felt like my world wasn't crumbling. When we got home, Kat was already there, early, cooking. She smiled when she saw us. "How was your day?" she asked. I wanted to scream. I wanted to ask, "How was yours, Kat? Did Thomas make you scream today, too?" But I didn't. I smiled back. Good, normal. That night, when she went to bed, I checked the tracker again. I noticed something new. Her route from earlier that day had a detour, a 10-minute stop in a park near that condo. I zoomed in. She wasn't alone. The app let me view past movement patterns. 2 phones close together, 2 dots merging. His phone? I didn't know yet, but I was determined to find out. So I upgraded the plan. I installed a second app, one that could record screen activity remotely, her texts, her calls, her apps. Yeah. Illegal? Maybe. Morally gray? Absolutely. But she broke the rules first. I was just adjusting to the new game. I told myself one thing: I'm not crazy. I'm not paranoid. I'm right. And if I was right, she was going to lose everything. By Wednesday, I had everything in place. GPS tracking, audio recording, screen mirroring, and now video. I had picked up a discreet key fob camera on Monday night. Tiny lens, full HD, motion activated. I modified it with a magnetic clip and stuck it inside the trunk lining of her car, pointed toward the back seat. I told myself I'd remove it in 48 hours. Just enough time to catch whatever needed catching, but I didn't have to wait long. Thursday. She left the house around 2:30 p.m., saying she had a department budget meeting. I kissed her goodbye with the fakest smile I've ever worn and immediately opened the live GPS. Dot moving down Lamar. Predictable. Condo again. Then I opened the remote access feed. The fob cam didn't have live viewing, but it uploaded motion clips when it could connect to Wi-Fi. Her phone served as the hotspot. I waited, eyes locked on the screen, praying the connection would hold. At 3:17 p.m., the first video appeared. I clicked play. She got into the car with him. Thomas. Now I could see him. Not just a photo, not just a name, but a living, breathing man stepping into my wife's car like it was routine. And the way she looked at him, I hadn't seen that look on her face in years. He kissed her like he owned her. Deep, hands everywhere. She didn't resist, didn't pause. In fact, she climbed right over the console and into the back seat with him. My jaw clenched. I couldn't move. I watched them. In my car. The same back seat where Ryan spilled apple juice just last week. Do things I hadn't seen her do in years. Things she used to tell me she wasn't into anymore. Things she used to mock in movies. With me, she was distant. With him, she was something else entirely. Wilder, younger. Someone I didn't even recognize. It lasted 11 minutes. When it ended, she fixed her hair in the mirror, smiled, and said, "Okay, I've got like 10 minutes before I have to be back at school." Like it was nothing. Like it was normal. I stared at the pause screen of the video, my own reflection barely visible in the monitor. I didn't feel anger, not right away. I felt cold, empty. Then it hit me all at once. Rage, humiliation. 9 years reduced to a backseat quickie with some overconfident jerk in a $2,300 condo and a smug smile. I copied the video to a separate hard drive, labeled it Insurance, because this wasn't just about cheating anymore. It was about what came next. I was done watching. Next time, I'd be there. Instead, she deflected. Gaslighting. Classic. Her voice raised. "Are you seriously invading my privacy right now? That's disgusting." I leaned in, calm, cold. "Who is he?" She flinched. "Who is he, Kat?" She shook her head. "There's no one. I don't know what you're talking about. You've clearly lost it." I walked over to the laptop, clicked open the video file I'd labeled Insurance, and let it play. No sound, just them in the car, her in his lap, hands, mouths, movements. I turned the screen toward her. She turned white. I didn't say a word. She covered her mouth, stepped back, and whispered, "Jason, oh my God, this is insane. You filmed me? In my car? You violated my—" "Our car," I corrected. "And you violated our marriage." She started crying, tears shaking, saying how she never meant for it to go this far, how it was just a mistake, and how things haven't been good between us for a while. And that's when I lost it.
"Don't you dare blame me for this. You've been sleeping with another man in our car, in our city, while I raised our son and paid our mortgage. And now you want to cry victim?" She collapsed into a chair, sobbing. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. "I want names," I said. "Who is he? How long? Are there others?" She wouldn't answer. So I said just one sentence. "I know his name is Thomas." She went quiet, looked up slowly. I nodded. "Yeah, I know where he lives, too." The color drained from her face. That's when it hit her. I wasn't bluffing. She wasn't just caught. She was exposed. And now the real game began. She didn't speak for a full minute. Just sat there, stunned, breathing hard, eyes darting like she was calculating her next move. But it was too late for strategy. The house of cards had already come down. "You went through my phone?" she finally asked, her voice small. "Nope," I said. "Didn't have to. Your lies have GPS." Her lips parted, but no words came. Just more silence. Then finally, "It's not what you think." I laughed. Actually laughed. The kind that sounds like it comes from someone who's just been hit by a truck and can't believe they're still alive. "Kat, I literally watched you ride him in the back seat of my car." "I didn't mean for this to happen." "Right. He tripped and fell into you, backwards, with both hands on your ass." She stood up, angry now. The crying act was over. "You think you're so righteous, Jason? You spy on me, track me, record me like some psycho, and now you're standing here pretending you're the victim?" "Not pretending. I am the victim." "Oh, grow up," she snapped. "Our marriage has been dead for years." And there it was, the line, the excuse, the script. Every cheater eventually plays the same card. "You weren't enough, so I found someone else. But it's your fault, not mine." I kept my voice calm. "How long?" She hesitated. 5 months. I nodded slowly. 5 months, while we were planning Ryan's birthday, while we were looking at summer vacation rentals, while we were trying to work on things. "Why him?" I asked. That caught her off guard. She sat back down. "I don't know. He listens. He makes me feel seen, desired, important." "Right, and I just pay the bills and raise your kid." "Our kid," she snapped. I let the silence hang. "Does he know you're married?" I finally asked. More silence. Bingo. "He didn't, did he?" I said. "You told him you were separated, or some other half-truth. Jesus." "He knows now," she said. "I told him last week." "So what? He's cool with being the side piece now?" She didn't answer. That's when I made my decision. "I'm going to talk to him," I said. Her eyes widened. "Jason, no, don't. Please. It'll only make things worse." "For who? You don't understand. He's not some random guy. He's important." I froze. "Important how?" She hesitated, looked away, then, barely above a whisper, "He's on the board of trustees at the university. My department chair reports to him." I stared at her like I didn't even know who she was. "You're sleeping with someone who has authority over your boss?" She nodded. "And you still want to make me the bad guy?" The conversation ended there. She stormed out of the room and locked herself in the bedroom.
I didn't follow. I just sat there, staring into space. So that was the guy. A well-connected, powerful snake who probably thought he'd never face consequences. But he didn't know me yet. I didn't sleep that night. I sat at the kitchen table with my laptop, going down a rabbit hole of every online trace I could find about Thomas Everett Morgan. LinkedIn, university board listings, charity event photos, interviews. Man had a polished image. Tech investor turned education philanthropist, whatever the hell that means. He smiled like a politician and dressed like a GQ ad. Everything about him screamed controlled, strategic, untouchable. Except he wasn't. Because around 1:17 a.m., I found it. A photo from a tech conference 4 years ago. Austin, Hilton downtown. And there I was, in the background, standing at the same damn coffee table, shaking hands with someone else. I looked closer. Thomas was talking to my boss. The man had been on the board of our parent company's accelerator fund. I had seen him in person, briefly. I just didn't recognize him out of context. He wasn't just some random other guy. He was in my professional orbit, a shark pretending to swim far away. Now he was screwing my wife in parking lots and condos, smiling like he owned the world, and she had let him. I started digging deeper. I pulled archived emails from my work account, found one from 2021. Thomas Morgan will be joining the boardroom session as an external observer for quarterly feedback. Please prepare a short summary of your pipeline. Yeah, I remembered that day. I gave a 10-minute presentation. He was there, in the corner, quiet, observing. Later, my boss told me, Morgan was impressed, said you were sharp. So let me get this straight. 2 years ago, he compliments my professional performance. 2 months ago, he's nailing my wife. I felt my hands shaking, but not from fear, from fury. I wasn't just betrayed emotionally. I was being humiliated on multiple fronts, personal and professional. And Kat? She knew exactly who he was. She had heard me mention his name before. She had to know. She didn't just cheat on me. She picked him. She made me the fool in a game I didn't even know I was playing. I opened a new document on my laptop and started writing everything down. Dates, times, locations, screenshots, video file names, quotes from her confession. This wasn't just emotional processing. This was a case file. Because if he thought he could screw his way through my life and walk away untouched, he picked the wrong guy. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. It was Saturday afternoon. Kat took Ryan to her mom's for the weekend. I think we need space, she said, like she wasn't the one who already created a goddamn canyon between us. Perfect. That gave me time. Time to go back and listen to the voice recordings from her car's dash mic. I'd been putting it off. I already knew what I was going to hear. But knowing and hearing are two very different things. I felt like I was holding a loaded gun pointed at my own chest and pulling the trigger one file at a time. The first clip was from 2 weeks ago, a Thursday afternoon. Her voice clear as day. You always smell so good. It's like dangerous. Then his. You say that like I didn't just fuck you in the elevator. Jesus, my stomach turned. Another file, next day. He has no idea, does he? Jason? No. He thinks I'm still drowning in lesson plans.
He's so checked out lately, it's like I don't even exist at home.
Checked out? Me? I was cooking, cleaning, raising our son, fixing a goddamn leaky sink last week while she was getting railed during office hours. Next clip, later that same day, laughing. He tried to initiate sex last weekend. What'd you do? Told him I had cramps, then came here. I paused the audio. I actually sat back and closed my eyes for a second because I didn't trust myself not to throw my laptop through the wall. This was cruelty, not just infidelity. Planned, mocked, chronic, like I was some idiot sitcom husband playing house while she lived out her secret soap opera. I clicked on the most recent file, 3 days ago. Her voice again, breathy. I think he suspects something. Then what? He said. Then I'll cry. I always win when I cry. That one hit different, because that's exactly what she did when I confronted her. Like it was rehearsed, a routine. That's when it clicked. The crying, the pleading, the turning it around on me. It wasn't panic. It was performance. She knew how to manipulate. She'd done it before. And not just with me, apparently. I started pacing. I was sick with rage, but also something worse. Realization. She was never afraid of being caught. She was afraid of losing control. That's all this ever was for her. Control. She could have ended it. She could have confessed. She could have walked away. But no, she wanted both worlds. Me for stability. Him for excitement. I sat back down and renamed all the recordings with timestamps and keywords. Then I backed them up. Twice. Flash drive, cloud folder, hidden, encrypted. This was no longer just personal. It was leverage, and I had just enough to burn both of them to the goddamn ground. If you've ever been cheated on, you know the second wave of betrayal doesn't come from the person who slept around. It comes from the people who knew and said nothing. Sunday afternoon, I got curious. Not rage curious, strategic curious. I started scrolling through Kat's social media, mostly Instagram and Facebook. I had access to her iCloud backups, so I could even see deleted DMs and archived stories. What I found made me want to throw my phone into traffic. Screenshots, photos, girls' brunches, wine nights, weekend getaways. Normal enough. Until I zoomed in on a photo from a girls' spa trip in May. Kat, glass of rosé in hand, smiling like the perfect Instagram wife. In the comments, Hannah. Ugh, you were glowing that weekend. Melissa, right? Hashtag secret energy. I clicked Hannah's profile. Private, but I already had access through Kat's synced messages, so I opened their texts, and there it was. April 22. Kat. Girl, I did something crazy. Hannah. Finally met up with him? Tell me everything. Kat. Let's just say the elevator has seen things it can't unsee. Later that day, same thread. Hannah. You deserve this. You've been in mom-wife mode for too long. Kat. He makes me feel 25 again. Jason would never what? Never betray you? Never cheat on you in front of your kid's car seat? Never lie to every person we know while smiling through dinner parties? And the worst part? These weren't high school friends. These were women who sat at my dinner table, held my baby, gave us anniversary gifts, hugged me in the kitchen while telling me how lucky Kat was to have me. All of them knew.
They enabled it. Melissa even helped her sneak out once while I was sick with the flu. February 12th. Melissa, tell him I'm dragging you to bar class again. I'll cover. Kat, God, you're the best. No, she's not. She's garbage, just like you. I sat there scrolling. Hundreds of messages, emojis, selfies, photos of outfits she sent to her friends to ask, is this too much for a Tuesday rendezvous? They knew. They cheered. They rooted for the affair like it was a Hallmark movie. And me? I was the punchline. You think betrayal only comes from the cheater, but the truth is, it's the silent accomplices that twist the knife deeper, because now it wasn't just her I'd be cutting out of my life, it was a whole circle. Fake smiles, fake hugs, fake friendships. I took screenshots, saved them to the folder I now mentally called the Scorched Earth Plan. I wasn't just divorcing a wife anymore. I was burning down a network of liars. After everything I'd seen, every text, every moan on audio, every smug comment from her girlfriends, I should have packed her bags, served the papers, and moved on. But I didn't. Not yet. Because now it wasn't about pain. It was about precision. You don't just expose someone like Kat with a screaming match or a dramatic scene. That gives them a chance to twist the narrative, paint you as angry, unstable, controlling. No. You bleed them out with a smile. That week, I became the world's most convincing husband. I cooked dinner, rubbed her shoulders, asked about her classes. Hell, I even left little post-it notes on the mirror like I used to when we first got married. She responded exactly how I expected. Guilt made her soft, nervous, almost affectionate. She was trying to repair the image of a marriage she'd already bulldozed months ago. On Tuesday, I told her I'd let it go. That I wanted to try counseling. Her eyes watered. She hugged me like I was her lifeline. I almost laughed into her shoulder. She had no idea I was already talking to 2 divorce lawyers. No idea I'd already moved half our joint funds into a separate legal account. No idea I had full digital archives of her infidelity. Conversations, photos, even footage of her and Thomas outside his condo from 3 different angles. And no idea that I was now tracking him, too. I'd placed a tag on his car during one of his gym visits. Dumbass drove a Tesla. Easy to slip something in the bumper. I watched him drive from his condo to university buildings to upscale restaurants. On Thursday night, he took her to a rooftop bar. I knew because Kat told me she was grading papers late at school. I even packed her a sandwich that afternoon and smiled as she left. "Don't stay too late, babe." She kissed me goodbye. An hour later, I watched them laugh over wine, her hand on his chest, his fingers tracing circles on her thigh under the table. I didn't cry. I didn't shake. I just watched, calm, focused. Because this wasn't the end game. Not yet. I wanted to wait for something bigger, something symbolic. Our wedding anniversary. 2 weeks away. I started planning a dinner, a big one, family, friends, a few of those snake girlfriends of hers. I told Kat I wanted to celebrate us. She lit up like I'd proposed all over again. "Really?" she said. "After everything, you still want to?" "Of course," I said. "We've been through a lot. We deserve a fresh start." And she believed me, completely. Because I didn't just want to end things. I wanted to bury the lie in front of everyone who helped it grow. It was the most effort I'd put into anything marriage-related in years. I booked the venue, small, intimate, just upscale enough to feel special. Candlelit tables, custom menu, outdoor patio with string lights. The kind of place people post about on Instagram with captions like, "Still in love after all these years." Kat ate it up. She helped plan the guest list, her friends, some family, a few of our mutual couples. She had no idea I'd already reached out to half of them privately with carefully worded texts. "I know this is awkward, but I'm planning something big. Please be there. Trust me." The replies varied, confused, curious. One of her own cousins responded with, "Dude, I had no idea. That's fucked up." Exactly. The plan wasn't just to confront her. It was to expose her, with witnesses. No escape, no way to gaslight, cry, twist it into, "Jason's controlling and toxic." She'd built a perfect little narrative. I was about to smash it.
2 days before the dinner, she was practically glowing. She'd booked a nail appointment, bought a new dress, texted Hannah a picture of her shoes with, "Too much? Or just enough for a man who still loves me?" Hannah replied, "Slay, and steal that man's soul while you're at it." The irony made me want to punch a wall. On the day of the dinner, she was a machine. Showered twice, reapplied makeup 3 times. I'd never seen her try so hard to impress someone she'd been sleeping on for half a year. "Do I look okay?" she asked, spinning in the mirror. I kissed her cheek. "You look perfect." God, I hated how good I'd gotten at lying. We arrived at the venue at 6:45. People were already there, smiling, drinking, clinking glasses. Kat made the rounds, hugging, laughing, even got misty-eyed when my sister gave her a toast-worthy compliment. She had no idea what was coming. At 7:10, just as the salads hit the table, I stood up and tapped my glass.
Thank you all for coming tonight. I know it's been a crazy year for everyone, but tonight I wanted to celebrate something sacred: trust, commitment, and truth. Kat smiled wide. Everyone raised their glasses. I looked at her. "Kat," I said, "I want to thank you for the laughs, the memories, the lessons." She looked a little confused, but nodded. "Aw, babe." And for reminding me to never ignore my instincts. That's when I pulled out the remote. I clicked it. Behind me on the patio wall, a projector came to life. The screen lit up. The first video, her in the car with Thomas. That same backseat footage I told myself I'd never show anyone. It played in silence. You could hear a fork drop. Someone gasped. Someone else muttered, "Holy sh—" Kat froze, eyes wide, blood draining from her face. Then came the audio files. Her voice, laughing, "He has no idea, does he?" Followed by moaning. Then the elevator comment. I let 45 seconds play, just enough. Then I hit pause. People were staring at her like she'd grown horns. She opened her mouth. "Jason, please." I spoke over her. "You told me I was crazy. You lied. You mocked me. You humiliated me. In front of our son, our friends, your family. All for that man." I pointed to the photo now on screen. Thomas, smiling, arm around her. "I just wanted everyone to know what I've known for weeks. You weren't just unfaithful. You were cruel. And I'm done playing husband to a woman who treats marriage like a costume." I dropped the remote on the table. The silence was perfect. Then I walked out, didn't look back, let her sit in that mess with everyone watching. I figured he had someone. A man like Thomas didn't just exist in isolation. It took one night and a VPN to find her. Emily Morgan. I found her LinkedIn first. Corporate finance consultant, 2 kids, married to Thomas E. Morgan since 2011. Then her Facebook,
mostly private, but the profile pic said enough. Her and Thomas at a vineyard, arms wrapped around each other like a damn stock photo of marital bliss. I stared at that picture for a long time. I wondered if she knew, if she'd seen the changes, the late nights, the secrecy, the scent of another woman on her husband's collar. I wondered if she doubted herself, questioned her worth, blamed stress or work or hormones. I knew that spiral. I'd lived it. So I decided she deserved the truth, too. I didn't want revenge. I wanted clarity for both of us. I mailed it anonymously. No signature, no return address. Just a neatly labeled USB drive in a padded envelope with a note that read, "You don't know me, but you need to see what your husband has been doing. The truth is in the files. I'm sorry you have to see it this way. I really am." 3 days passed. I heard nothing. Then I got an email from a burner I'd set up just in case. Subject line, "We should talk." It was short, formal, almost cold, but it included her phone number. I called. Her voice was calm, too calm, the kind of calm that only exists when anger burns past boiling and becomes something frozen. "I watched everything," she said. "Twice." I stayed quiet. "I'm sorry for what your wife did," she added. I let out a breath I didn't know I was holding. "And I'm sorry for what your husband did." Long pause. "Do you want to meet?" she asked. We picked a neutral spot. Quiet cafe in a part of town where nobody would recognize either of us. She wore sunglasses. I almost didn't recognize her. We sat across from each other, two strangers bound together by betrayal. "I thought I was crazy," she said after a while. "I told myself I was paranoid, that I was overthinking. I almost made excuses for him. I guess you know how that feels." "I do," I said. She reached into her bag and pulled out her phone, showed me texts. "Thomas, don't wait up tonight. Late board meeting. You know how it is." Same night he was in my car with Kat. She shook her head. "I want to burn everything." I believed her. But she wasn't reckless. She was calculated. She'd already spoken to a lawyer, already started copying financial records. She had her kids to think about, her life, her name. "I want him to lose everything," she said. "Not just the marriage, everything." I nodded. Then she asked something I didn't expect. "Would you be willing to testify?" I looked her in the eye. "If it comes to that," I said. "Absolutely." We finished our coffee. Strangers in, co-conspirators out. As I walked to my car, phone buzzing with unread texts from Kat, one thought ran through my head.
Thomas Morgan had no idea how much he'd just screwed up.
Kat showed up at my doorstep 2 days after the dinner. No warning, no calls, just a knock around 8:30 p.m., long after Ryan was asleep at my sister's place. I opened the door and saw the version of her I hadn't seen in years. No makeup, hair in a loose bun, eyes puffy and raw. She looked human again, vulnerable, small. "Jason," she whispered, "please, can I come in?" I didn't say anything, just stepped aside. She stood in the middle of the living room, arms crossed, like she didn't know whether to scream, cry, or run. I sat down on the couch, letting the silence stretch between us like a razor wire. She finally spoke. "You humiliated me." I gave a dry laugh. "You humiliated yourself. I just put a projector on it." Her eyes filled instantly. She sank to the armrest across from me, pulled her knees up like a child.
Do you have any idea what you've done?
I stared at her. Yeah, I exposed a liar. She covered her face with her hands and whispered, Everyone's turning on me. My parents won't answer my calls. My students found the clip. Someone posted it on Reddit. It's on TikTok now. My department chair wants to meet with me immediately. Good. She looked up. Jason, please, I'm begging you, don't do more. I know I screwed up. I know I deserve— You deserve worse than this. Her lip trembled. Please don't go after Thomas's wife. If this goes public, really public, he could lose everything. His board seats, his reputation, his income. He has kids. I leaned forward, voice low, sharp. So do I. She froze. I stood up, walked to the kitchen, poured a glass of water with the calm of a man deciding whether or not to light a match. You didn't care about my life or Ryan's or your students or your damn job when you were screwing your way through our marriage, I said. But now that the grenade's in your lap, you want mercy? She stood too. I was lost, Jason. I felt invisible. I didn't think you cared anymore. No, you didn't care. You wanted to feel something, so you threw gasoline on your life and assumed no one would ever strike the match. She walked toward me, slowly, like a wounded animal. I still love you. I almost laughed. No, you don't, I said. You missed the version of me who didn't know. The one who kept the lie intact, the idiot, but he's dead. Her voice cracked. Can we just stop this before it gets worse? I set the water down and turned to her. I gave you every chance. You could have confessed, could have owned it. Instead, you tried to manipulate me, gaslight me, cry your way out of it. So now, no, I'm not stopping. She started crying, real tears this time. Jason, I'm sorry, please. I'll sign anything. I'll give you the house, full custody. Just don't destroy me. I looked at her, this woman I once loved, once trusted, and realized how far gone she really was. This isn't about destroying you, Kat, I said quietly. It's about making sure you never do this to anyone else again. I wasn't planning to involve them. Her parents had always been good to me, overbearing sometimes, sure, but never cruel. Her dad called me son even after the first year. Her mom used to text me Thanksgiving recipes. I figured they didn't deserve to be in the blast radius, but then I found out they already knew. Not all the details, not the videos, not the lies, but enough. Kat's cousin, one of the people at the anniversary dinner, texted me the next morning. Just so you know, her mom asked Kat about the rumors back in May. She lied straight to her face. Said you two were working things out. So I thought, screw it. If they want the truth, they can have it. I sent one email, short, direct, respectful. Subject, I think you deserve honesty. Body, you raised a daughter who could have had everything, but she chose something else. I've attached the details, dates, evidence, and full context. I'm not reaching out for support, just clarity. If you ever wondered why the marriage ended, this is why. Jason. I attached a zip file. Nothing graphic, just the facts. Timeline, selected quotes from her own texts, and a short video clip showing her walking into Thomas's building after telling me she had a faculty mixer. I expected silence, or maybe a cold reply. What I got was a phone call from her father. The next day, he didn't yell, didn't cry. He just said, "I'm sorry. I didn't raise her for this." We talked for almost an hour. Turns out he suspected something was wrong for months. She started acting different, hiding things, getting defensive. I didn't want to believe it. His wife, Kat's mom, was more shocked than angry, but she'd gone quiet, distant, ashamed. Then came the real gut punch. She told us you were emotionally distant, that you'd shut her out, that she felt unloved, that the affair, if there even was one, was a reaction, not a decision. I let that sink in. She'd been laying the groundwork, manipulating everyone, rewriting the script so that when it all came out, I'd look like the bad guy. Classic. Her dad sighed. You need anything, son, you let me know. House, custody, whatever it is. She's burned her bridges with us. I didn't ask for anything. I just said thank you and hung up. Later that night, Kat texted me. Kat, did you seriously email my parents? That's low, Jason. Me. Not as low as you lying to them for 5 months. She didn't respond, but I knew she got the message, because the next day her mother called me, not her, to ask if I needed help watching Ryan over the weekend. Not to take Kat's side, not to mediate, just to help me. The shift was happening. People were waking up. She hadn't just lost me. She was starting to lose everyone. It started on Instagram. Kat went radio silent for a few days after the dinner fallout. No stories, no thirst traps, no empowering quotes over filtered selfies, just digital silence. I figured she was regrouping, licking her wounds. Then, on a random Wednesday, she posted a black and white photo of herself looking out a rainy window, captioned, "Sometimes the ones we trust the most break us the hardest. Healing is not linear. #betrayal, #rebuild, #truthseeker." I laughed out loud. It had begun. The narrative flip. A few of her old friends, mostly her yoga pals and academic groupies, started showing support in the comments. "Stay strong, girl. You don't owe anyone your story. We believe in you. Rise above." I expected it. Some people will always defend the person who cries first, no matter the facts. Then came the DMs. "Hey, this is Anna, Kat's friend. Just wanted to say, I don't know the full story, but it's really messed up to air private stuff like that in public. Jason, I saw the video and I'm sorry, but you're coming off vindictive. Maybe take some time offline. There are better ways to handle pain than revenge." I ignored most of them, but then I got a message from a guy named Sean, mutual friend, quiet, lived out of state now. "Dude, she's telling people you were controlling and emotionally abusive, that you tracked her, hacked her accounts, and manipulated the story to make her look like the villain." There it was. She knew she'd lost the people who mattered, her family, the ones who saw the evidence. So now she was building a new version of events for the outer circle, the people who weren't there, the ones who could be swayed by tears and poetic captions. So I made a choice. I posted once. Just one post. No video, no audio, no rage. Just a screenshot of her text to Thomas. "He's such a joke. Can't even tell when I'm faking it in bed. I told him I'm at a faculty mixer tonight. LOL. We're so bad." Honestly, the guilt's kinda hot. Caption. Narratives are easy to spin, but screenshots are harder to fake. I'm not asking for sympathy, I'm just not going to let lies take root. I tagged no one, left comments on. Then I put my phone down and went to the gym. By the time I got back, it had blown up. Some of her defenders deleted their comments. Others started tagging each other in mine. Her own cousin replied, "Guess the truth seeker forgot to mention these receipts." That night, Kat texted me. "Kat, why are you doing this? I said I'm sorry. You're turning people against me." Me. "No, Kat. You turned them against you. I'm just showing them the truth." The next morning, she deleted her post, went back into silence. But the damage was done. She could try to rewrite the story all she wanted. But now, I held the pen. I knew it would happen eventually. He'd been silent since the anniversary dinner, radio silent. No angry messages, no legal threats, no pathetic apologies, just gone. Like he'd slipped into a hole and was hoping to wait it out. But cowards don't stay quiet forever. They wait for what they think is the perfect opening. His came in the form of a text, if you can believe it. "Thomas Morgan, we need to talk, man to man." I stared at it for a good 10 minutes. Man to man? After months of sneaking around with my wife? After laughing behind my back, humiliating me, lying to his own family, his own kids, this guy wanted to talk like we were equals. I didn't respond. So he called, twice. Then a voicemail. "Jason, look, I know emotions are high, but I think if we can just have a civil conversation, we can prevent this from getting worse. For everyone." There it was, the fear in his voice, because it was getting worse. For him. Emily, his wife, had gone scorched earth. She'd already spoken to his company's ethics committee. She'd locked him out of their joint accounts. And I knew, thanks to a quiet email update from her, that her divorce lawyer was building a case that would leave him with nothing but a condo and shame. So of course he wanted to talk. Damage control. I decided to give him one, but on my terms. I told him to meet me at a public park, mid-afternoon, broad daylight, lots of people around. I wasn't about to give him the privacy he probably wanted. He showed up looking like hell. Designer shirt wrinkled, eyes bloodshot, no ring. He walked up like we were about to play golf. "Jason," he said, nodding, "thanks for coming." I didn't shake his hand, just stared. He sighed. "I just want to make sure this doesn't get uglier than it already is. For the kids, for everyone involved." I let him talk. He used words like mistake, poor judgment, and mutual responsibility. It was all surface level, shallow corporate speak, like he was issuing a press release. Then he said this. "I think we both know Kat wasn't happy. That's not an excuse, but things like this don't happen in a vacuum." I felt my fists tighten. I leaned in real quiet. "You're right, Thomas. They don't happen in a vacuum. They happen in back seats, in hotel rooms, in office closets. And you knew she was married. You looked me in the eye at my son's birthday party and smiled like you weren't already fucking my wife." He paled. "Look," he said, voice shaking a little. "I'm trying to take accountability. I've already lost Emily. I'm probably losing my kids. My board's threatening to suspend me. Please, don't drag this out in public. Not anymore. Let's end this quietly." That's when I knew. He didn't care about me, or Kat, or even his family. He cared about his reputation. I stood up. "Here's what's going to happen," I said. "You're going to keep your mouth shut. You're not going to spin this, not to your friends, not to the press, not to your company, because I've got the receipts. And if you even breathe in the direction of a cover-up,
I'll make sure everyone sees exactly who you are." He opened his mouth. I cut him off. "You wanted to talk like men? Then listen like one. You don't get to walk away clean." Then I walked. Didn't look back. Didn't need to. Because for the first time in months, he was the one watching me leave.
I thought Thomas was the bottom. Turns out he was just the start. I didn't go digging for more. I thought I had the full picture. One affair, one smug corporate clown, one broken marriage. But this whole thing had layers, and the truth has a nasty habit of bubbling up when you least expect it. It was a Friday night. I was at home watching a movie with Ryan. He'd fallen asleep on the couch beside me, breathing softly, his head on my arm. For a second, life almost felt normal again. Then I got a DM on Reddit. "Grad burner. Hey, you don't know me, but I think I TA'd for your wife last semester. We should talk." At first, I thought it was a troll, someone fishing for drama. I clicked their profile, brand new, no posts, just the message. I replied. "About what?" His response came fast. "About what she was doing with Professor Langston. You probably don't know who I am, but I saw things, I heard things, and I've got receipts." Professor Langston. Kat's colleague, tenured, twice divorced, mid-50s, sleazy reputation, always managed to skate past HR complaints like Teflon. She once called him gross in front of me. Now? Apparently not so gross after all. I gave the TA a throwaway email address. 10 minutes later, I got a folder full of screenshots, texts, emails, Slack messages, between faculty, nothing explicitly sexual, but plenty incriminating. One message from Kat to Langston, dated during our marriage. "My husband thinks I'm at the department retreat all weekend. I'll bring wine this time." Another. "Can't believe I'm grading this garbage when I could be under your desk again, LOL. And one from Langston to a colleague. "KM is dangerous, man, married, cold as hell, and somehow always down." I sat there staring at the screen. I actually felt nauseous, because this wasn't just cheating anymore. It was a pattern, a lifestyle, a string of lies and hookups stitched into the fabric of our entire marriage, and I never saw it. Or maybe I did and just didn't want to. I called Kat. She answered on the second ring, like she'd been waiting. "What?" she snapped. "Langston?" I asked. Silence. Then, "Where did you hear that?" "Doesn't matter," I said. "How many, Kat? How many were there?" Click. She hung up. I sat in that silence, watching my son sleep, realizing I hadn't just lost a partner. I'd lost the illusion of the life I thought I had. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. New message, this time from Emily, Thomas's wife. Just heard about Langston. She really had a whole ecosystem, didn't she? I replied, "This isn't just divorce anymore. This is character assassination, and I'm not letting her write the ending." She sent one line back. "Then let's make sure she doesn't." I should have seen it coming. When cornered, narcissists don't reflect. They lash out. Up until now, Kat had been spiraling, losing her grip on her reputation, her parents, her allies. But she still had one card left, one thing she could try to use as leverage: our son. It started with a message from my lawyer. "We just received a motion from her attorney. She's seeking temporary full custody, claims the current environment is emotionally unstable and potentially harmful to the child." I had to read it twice. She was trying to take Ryan, the same child I bathed, fed, read bedtime stories to, the same child she left with me for weeks at a time while she worked late or went on retreats, the one she neglected while sneaking around with men like Thomas and Langston. And now she wanted to act like I was the threat? I called her, straight to voicemail. I texted her, "What the hell is this custody stunt?" She replied hours later. Cat,
You've made it impossible for me to live in peace. You've turned people against me, stalked me online, aired our dirty laundry. I'm doing what's best for Ryan. He needs stability. You're unwell. Unwell? Because I told the truth? I felt something snap inside me. Not rage, not sadness. Something colder. Resolve. I immediately called my lawyer back. Let's go scorched earth. He didn't hesitate. Okay, here's what we'll do. By the end of the week, we filed a counter motion with evidence, time-stamped texts showing Kat's absences, sworn statements from her parents, messages from babysitters who said she would vanish for entire weekends. We attached the screenshots, the timeline, and a formal psychological report confirming I was mentally sound and emotionally stable. She underestimated one thing: I document everything. The court ordered a temporary custody hearing, fast-tracked. Kat showed up with her hair curled, a neutral beige dress, no makeup. The suffering mother act. I showed up with facts. A lawyer tried the emotional angle. Claimed Kat was under duress, vilified, harassed online, and concerned for the child's exposure to drama. My lawyer calmly pulled out the folder. Your Honor, here is a record of the mother's conduct over the last 18 months, detailing lies, multiple extramarital affairs, deception regarding her whereabouts, and neglect of the child. There is also evidence suggesting attempts to manipulate witnesses and spin public perception for personal gain. Kat didn't even look at me during the hearing. But when the judge ruled in my favor, granting me primary custody and only supervised visitation for her until further review, I saw it. A flicker in her eye. Not sadness. Hatred. I walked out of that courtroom holding the one thing she couldn't fake, couldn't control, couldn't lie about anymore. My son wanted to be with me. And no judge, no lie, no performance could change that. It wasn't romantic, at least not at first. Emily and I had been trading information, venting, comparing timelines, like two survivors mapping out a battlefield after the smoke clears. We texted now and then, sometimes late at night, when the silence got too loud. She understood in ways no one else could. One evening, she messaged me out of nowhere. "I'll be in your city this weekend, visiting my sister. Want to grab coffee?" I stared at the message for a while, not because I didn't want to say yes, because I didn't want to read into the yes. But I said it anyway. "Sure, just coffee, right?" "Relax, Jason. We're not writing a Netflix series. Just two people who've been burned by the same fire." We met at a quiet cafe near the lake. She wore jeans and a hoodie, no makeup, hair in a loose braid. She looked tired, but calm, stronger somehow. We hugged, awkward at first, then not. "I still can't believe they thought they could pull this off," she said after we sat. Kat and Thomas. God, it's like they thought we were NPCs in their little fantasy. I laughed bitterly. "NPCs don't file restraining orders or win custody hearings." She grinned. Touché. The conversation shifted naturally. We didn't dwell in the betrayal. We understood it already. We talked about Ryan, about her kids, about therapy, about how hard it is to explain to people that you're grieving someone who's still alive. "I used to wake up every day thinking maybe I could fix it," she admitted. "Now I wake up hoping I never see his name pop up on my phone again." I nodded. Same. There was a moment of quiet,
not uncomfortable, just loaded. Then she said, "You know, if we ever get bored of being emotionally wrecked, divorced parents, we could always get matching tattoos, something classy like Survivor of Faculty Infidelity, Class of 2025. I laughed harder than I had in weeks. We walked for a while after that, down by the lake. She told me she was filing for full custody next month, that she'd started going back to yoga, that Thomas's university was investigating professional misconduct after one of the younger faculty members came forward. "He's going to lose everything," she said. "Good," I said. She paused, looked at me. "What about you? You gonna start dating again?" I shrugged. "Eventually. Maybe. Right now, I just want to remember who I am when I'm not cleaning up someone else's lies." She smiled. "Fair. But when you're ready, just know, not everyone out there is playing a role. Some of us actually mean what we say." I didn't ask what she meant by that. I didn't have to. We hugged again before she left. This time it wasn't awkward at all. Not romantic, not yet. But maybe the first chapter of something real. And this time, no secrets, just truth. For someone who built her entire identity around being a respected academic, Kat always thought she was untouchable. Tenured, published, praised. She wore her position like armor. So even as her personal life crumbled, she clung to the belief that her career was her safe zone, that no matter how messy things got at home, the university would shield her. She forgot something critical. Academia loves reputations until they become liabilities. I didn't even have to lift a finger. The fallout came naturally, almost poetically. Emily and I weren't the only ones burned. Remember the TA who sent me those receipts? Turns out he wasn't alone. Kat's behavior had been raising eyebrows for a while, disappearing from lectures, playing favorites with certain students, a rumored open-door policy with young male faculty, and worst of all, retaliating against grad students who didn't fall in line. The complaints had been brushed off before, nothing formal, just whispers, until now. Now, people weren't whispering anymore. The university launched a formal review, spearheaded by the Office of Ethics and Compliance. I only heard about it because one of her colleagues, a neutral party, sent me a message. "You didn't hear this from me, but the Faculty Senate has called a closed-door meeting about Kat. The stuff coming out, it's not good. Multiple witnesses, possible misconduct." I wasn't surprised. I was just waiting for the day the institution stopped pretending she was a golden child. And then I got a call from her father, of all people. We hadn't spoken in months, not since the dinner blow-up, but he sounded tired, older. "Jason, I thought you should know. She's been placed on administrative leave. No classes, no contact with students, pending investigation." I didn't say anything. "She's not doing well," he added. I almost laughed. "Not doing well? She tried to take my son. She gaslit, cheated, lied, and weaponized her career to escape consequences. And now that the walls were closing in, we were supposed to feel bad?" He sighed. "Look, I'm not asking for sympathy. I'm just tired of all of it." I told him the truth. I used to want her to feel pain. I used to lie awake thinking of ways to make her life as broken as she made mine. But now, I just want her gone. Out of my world, out of my kids' world. I don't care if she crumbles. She built the cliff she's fallen from. There was a long pause. Then he said, "Fair enough." The next week, I saw the headline in the campus newspaper. "Tenured professor placed on leave amid allegations of professional misconduct and abuse of power." No name, but anyone who knew the department would connect the dots. And that's when it hit me. She wasn't just losing her family or her reputation or her custody rights. She was losing the one thing she thought could never be taken from her: her mask.
And without it, there was nothing left but the truth.
It was a Tuesday. Normal. Uneventful. I had just put Ryan to bed after his bath. We read his favorite dinosaur book, and he knocked out halfway through page 6. Peaceful. Safe. Predictable. Exactly how I liked it now. Then came the knock at the door. Not the doorbell. A knock. Soft. Deliberate. Like someone didn't want to be heard, or was afraid to be. I opened it cautiously. It was her. Kat stood on my porch like a ghost, pale, shaky, drenched from the rain that had just started. Her once pristine hair clung to her face. She looked like someone who hadn't eaten or slept in days. "What the hell are you doing here?" I asked, keeping my voice low so I wouldn't wake Ryan. She didn't answer at first, just stood there, soaked and shivering. I didn't know where else to go." I stared at her. Seriously? After everything? She wiped her face, rain, not tears, though I'm sure she would have preferred I thought otherwise. "I lost my job," she whispered. "I know."
They're recommending termination, full revocation of tenure. They're calling it abuse of authority, Jason. They're making me out to be some kind of predator. I folded my arms. If the shoe fits. Her eyes flared. "I made mistakes, but I'm not—" "Spare me," I cut in. "You didn't come here for redemption. You came because you burned every other bridge, and this is the only one you hadn't tried to walk back across yet." For a moment, the mask dropped. She looked furious, but then something else crept in. Desperation. "I miss him," she said. "Ryan. I know I've been a terrible mother. I know I don't deserve anything, but I just want to see him." I didn't say anything. I let the silence stretch. She shifted her weight like she was about to crumble. "I've lost everything. You, my career, my reputation. I don't even recognize myself anymore." Now that was honest. But honesty doesn't erase consequences. "I tried to protect you," I said, "even after I found out about Thomas, even after Langston. I gave you chances to be human. You tried to take my son instead." Her voice cracked. "I didn't know what else to do. I was scared." "You weaponized motherhood," I snapped. "You didn't come here for Ryan. You came here because for the first time in your life, the consequences are yours and yours alone." I stepped aside, not to let her in, but to end it. "You need to leave right now, before I call the police. You're not welcome here, not tonight, not ever." She just stood there, then quietly, "Goodbye, Jason." She turned and walked into the rain. No umbrella, no plan, just gone. And for the first time since this whole nightmare started, I didn't feel anger or pity. I felt free. It wasn't from Kat. Let's get that out of the way. She's probably still too far down in her own delusion to offer a real apology. Maybe she never will. And honestly, I stopped needing it a long time ago. No, the apology came from someone I hadn't heard from in almost a year. Thomas. Yeah, that Thomas. The man who used to eat dinner at my table, high-five my kid, drink my beer, and then sleep with my wife behind my back. I got the email on a Thursday. No subject line. Just this. "Jason, I don't expect you to read this, but I need to say it. I'm in rehab. Part of the program is making amends. I'm writing because what I did to you was inexcusable. I crossed lines no friend ever should. No man ever should. It wasn't just an affair. It was betrayal at a level I didn't fully grasp until I lost everything. I've hurt a lot of people, but hurting you, that haunts me. Emily left me. I haven't seen my daughter in 4 months. My career is a joke. My health was in the gutter.
Honestly, I should have hit rock bottom sooner. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to hear it from me. I was wrong, deeply, and I'm sorry. If you ever want to talk, I'll be here. If not, I get it. Thomas. I stared at the screen for a long time. My first reaction wasn't rage. It wasn't satisfaction either. It was emptiness. There was a time when I imagined this exact message, when I craved it. I fantasized about the moment Thomas would crawl back, admit he'd destroyed something sacred, beg for a sliver of grace. Now that it was here, I didn't even feel like replying. Instead, I forwarded the message to Emily with no commentary. She deserved to see it too. She replied within minutes. He sent me one too, word for word. Guess the rehab gods handed out templates this week. I actually laughed out loud. Still, I kept rereading his words. Not because I was looking for sincerity. I think he meant it in his own broken way, but because it reminded me of something I'd forgotten along the way. They didn't win. Kat and Thomas thought they could lie, cheat, sneak, and manipulate their way through life without ever facing a mirror. They thought people like Emily and me were too blind, too weak, too naive to see the truth. But we saw it, and when we did, we didn't break. We rebuilt. That night, I didn't respond to Thomas. I didn't need to. Closure doesn't come from the people who hurt you. It comes from realizing you're no longer carrying their weight. It was a plain envelope. No dramatic stamp, no bright lettering, just my name, typed neatly, sitting in my mailbox, like it wasn't about to end an entire era of my life. Inside, the signed divorce decree, final custody order, property division summary, the last legal trace of Jason and Kat. It was over. No courtroom appearances, no more filings, no last-minute appeals, just a signature from a judge and the silent thud of an envelope hitting my welcome mat. I stood in my kitchen with the papers in my hands, reading every line, not because I didn't know what they said, but because I needed to feel the finality. 10 years of marriage, 2 years of lies, 6 months of war. And now? Done. It didn't feel like victory. It didn't feel like loss either. It felt like relief. Clean. Cold. Quiet. I poured myself a drink, not whiskey, not vodka, just water. Sat by the window while Ryan napped upstairs, the afternoon sun slicing across the floor, and I thought about all the versions of myself that had died since this started. The naive husband, the forgiving partner, the man who doubted his own instincts. Gone. What was left was someone sharper, calmer, less trusting, maybe, but more grounded, more dangerous to liars. Later that evening, I told Ryan in the simplest way I could. He was only 6, after all. Mommy and Daddy are officially not married anymore, I said. But I'm still your dad. Nothing changes that. He nodded like he'd been waiting for this moment, too. Does that mean she won't yell anymore? I blinked. What do you mean? He shrugged. Sometimes she'd yell on the phone when she didn't know I was in the room. My chest tightened. I knelt beside him. You never have to worry about that anymore, okay? You're safe here. He nodded, then hugged me, tight. Kids know, way more than we think. That night, after he went to bed, I sat down and opened a blank document. No lawyers, no courts, just me. writing out everything that had happened, every detail I hadn't yet spoken aloud. I didn't plan to post it. I didn't even know if I'd ever let anyone read it, but I needed it out of me. One last purge before the final chapter. The storm was gone. The wreckage remained, but so did I. And for the first time in years, I was ready to move on.
I didn't expect peace to feel like this. There's no dramatic music when it arrives, no fireworks, no sudden sunrise that makes you weep with gratitude. It's just quiet. It's coffee that stays hot long enough to finish. It's your kid laughing without a trace of tension in his voice. It's waking up without that sinking feeling in your chest. It's freedom, not from someone else, but from the version of yourself who kept hoping they'd change. Ryan's been thriving. He smiles more now. He's sleeping through the night, no more waking up scared after hearing his mother scream on the phone or watching me pace in the hallway like a ghost. He has friends. He's drawing again, little cartoons that look like dinosaurs playing soccer. One of them has my name written across its jersey in crayon. That one's on the fridge. And me? I'm not healed, not completely. Some wounds don't close perfectly. They leave scars, reminders. But I'm whole. I started hiking again. Little trails, nothing dramatic, just enough to sweat, breathe, and forget the digital noise of lawyers, courtrooms, and custody battles. I started journaling, then writing short stories, things that have nothing to do with betrayal or heartbreak, just stories, just life. I even started seeing someone, Emily. It wasn't intentional. We didn't plan it. After everything we'd both been through, dating was the last thing on our minds. But we kept talking, kept showing up for each other, kept laughing at things that weren't funny to anyone else but us. It started with shared pain. It turned into something honest. We're taking it slow. There's no pressure, no masks, just mutual respect and a hell of a lot of truth. The first night she stayed over, Ryan made her pancakes in the morning. He doesn't know everything, but he knows she makes his dad smile, and that's enough for him. It's enough for me, too. As for Kat, last I heard, she moved out of state. She took a non-academic job, something far away from campuses and titles. She hasn't tried to contact Ryan again. The court order made it clear. Supervised visitation only, pending proof of recovery and counseling. She hasn't shown up for a single appointment. And I've stopped wondering why. Sometimes people vanish from your life, not because they were meant to stay, but because they were meant to teach you exactly who you don't want to be. I look in the mirror now and I don't see the guy who got cheated on, or the guy who got played, or the guy who almost lost his son. I see a man who stood up, broke the cycle, and walked the hell away. Not into a fairy tale, but into something real. And that's the best ending I could have asked for.